Welcome, Motenta people. If there is any Hollywood actor and director whose name rings a bell in varied life circumstances, it is Clint Eastwood. Some things are mysteries in life. How this Western star and 4 times Oscar-winning filmmaker was able to unite all of his loosely created children is more mysterious than reality. A man who was realistic in fulfilling the divine mandate of fruitful multiplication, although doing so against the rules. His numerous scandalous affairs with women got him vicious divorces and undisclosed love kids amidst secrecy, betrayal, and heartbreak. Why Clint Eastwood never stopped making children. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Motenta's channel. Clint Eastwood is the man behind the children, not just the women. A man who finds himself with 8 children from 6 different women. A highly successful fellow, both as an actor and film director. His prolific lifestyle appears more dramatic when it involves the opposite sex. After surviving a plane crash and navigating through an industrious career that saw him not just acting, but directing dozens of hit movies and gaining 4 Oscars, including 11 nominations, Eastwood is one man that has his success his way. It, of course, makes him an interesting personality for historians. Receiving 2 of these awards from directing, Eastwood demonstrated a clear message about his diverse talent in the industry. Did he just go home with the Oscars for Best Director for Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby and Best Picture awards for the same movies? He was said to have established his authority as a genius in the entertainment industry. Actors who worked under him as a director say they enjoyed working with Eastwood, as they described him as one who sticks to the budget and would finish ahead of schedule. Others would recommend him for his reserved and supportive style. Generally viewed as one who respects the actor, Eastwood, according to actor Tim Robbins, is known for capturing minimal takes. He accepts 1 or 2, if you were lucky. Completing a successful Western TV series, Rawhide, Eastwood got a whirlwind success with his unique performance as the man with no name, especially as the rogue cop Harry Callahan in the 5 Dirty Harry films that were said to have made him a cultural icon of masculinity. He remained a popular figure among fans and society in general. He was once elected in 1986 as the mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California, where he served for 2 years. In addition to standing tall among his peers, Clint Eastwood has some wild stories that have been told over time, which became a reality that kept fans wondering how he was able to pull through. Fondly referred to as the Hollywood's king of the Wild West, he surely got something more wildly than his films. Perhaps his romantic flings. When recently at the premiere of The Mule on the 11th of December 2018, his first child, Laurie Eastwood, was openly acknowledged. It officially added to his growing list of children, with more being expected. No wonder biographers subtly described him as having at least 8 children. Laurie, interestingly, is a product of an affair Clint had within the period he was betrothed to his first wife, Maggie Johnson, in 1953. Although Laurie had been in contact with Eastwood for years, their relationship remained secret for 30 years. Hollywood community was agog recently when the siblings stood delighted of their increasing numbers at the venue of Eastwood's latest premiere in a celebrity photo shoot, with observers describing it as so rare for all the children to happily come together in that form. Although many believed that there's an obvious reason why it's not that difficult for them to unite. The kids might be smiling, but the women involved are not. It is a different story as the women find themselves in the midst of scandal, secrecy, betrayal, and grief. From what seems like a blind date, which became the first love, lasting for 14 years, to a thunderous romp with a TV news anchor, cemented for 17 years, with all ending in a nasty way, Eastwood found himself faced with disgraceful affairs that did not just attract public sentiments, but ended in an unfortunate court battle that left him with a number of kids and still counting. Clint Eastwood was born on the 31st of May, 1930, in San Francisco, California, to Ruth and Clinton Eastwood. He was said to have been christened Samson at the hospital by nurses because of his 5.2-kilogram birth weight. When his parents settled in Piedmont, the Eastwoods were said to have lived in a well-off area of town, having access to a swimming pool and country club, and their parents owned their car. Eastwood started at Piedmont Middle School, but was held back by poor academic scores and then to summer school sometime between 1945 and 1946, before joining Piedmont High School, where he was rusticated for going against school rules. Switching to Oakland Technical High School, where he was said to have exhibited a nonchalant attitude in his academic work, Eastwood got involved in several jobs, being a lifeguard, paper carrier, forest firefighter, and grocery clerk, among others. He once said he wanted to join Seattle University in 1951, but found himself in the United States Army preparing for the Korean War. He may not have fought in the war because he was engaged as a lifeguard at Fort Ord in Northern California all through his military career. His illicit romance with women may have come a long way, as he was rumored to have been frolicking with the daughter of a Fort Ord officer who was also alleged to have prayed for an opportunity to have him transferred. It was while he was coming back from a planned trip in Seattle, Washington, that an aircraft carrying him crashed in the ocean somewhere close to Point Reyes, but a life raft provided him with an opportunity to continue his life. It was not clear how he landed in Hollywood, but Eastwood credited his first contact to a friend identified as Chuck Hill. Back in Los Angeles, according to Eastwood, Hill brought him to Universal Studio, where he was scheduled for an audition, even though those he met did not think he could be useful because of his height. After signing Eastwood for a contract, he was condemned for his stiff style, plus the delivery of lines through his teeth that later became his trademark. After many failed auditions, he was kept in minor roles. He also appeared uncredited in some films like Jack Arnold's film, Tarantula, where he showed up as a squadron pilot. Universal later got him his first TV role in 1955 on NBC's Allen in Movieland, as he continued to grow in acting skills, although Universal terminated his contract that same year. Eastwood had a rough time appearing in films, even without a contract. He continued trying his luck for a breakthrough. After making a notable guest appearance as Red Hartigan on Maverick opposite James Garner, Eastwood got closer to what he has always wanted, as he soon landed in the CBS hour-long Western series known as Rawhide in 1958. Within 3 weeks, Rawhide was already on the top 20 in TV rankings and settled in the top 6 at one point, around 1960 and 1961. The series continued between 1959 and 1965, a period that saw Eastwood swimming in popularity. When the show ended, Eastwood, now famous, was happy to be in Sergio Leone's production after signing a $15,000 contract for 11 weeks' pay, with a car as extra upon completion. The role saw Eastwood doing the cowboy thing that he said was contrary to his Rawhide act, as he was said to have made an important change from a TV Western to Fistful of Dollars, for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. He was credited for inventing the man-with-no-name appeal that distinguished the film's visual style. The interesting thing about this production is that Eastwood does not smoke cigars, but Leone maintained that he must do it as a vital element of the mask he represented in the films. Described as an innovative aspect of the spaghetti Western series, the film's success positioned Eastwood as the key star in Italy. Eastwood's success stories continued even as he later diversified into acting and directing films that were not just successful, but gave him much-needed accolades. While recording career successes, Eastwood was also busy nurturing his private affairs the way he deems fit, even if it means reproducing with all the beautiful women around him and ditching the inevitable outcome, which made him a master in the act. While legally married, his wife at some point was heartbroken with the fresh news of secret children, even though he has refused to disclose the actual number of his kids. Before rising to fame, Eastwood met and fell in love with Maggie Johnson sometime in 1953. The two were said to have hurriedly engaged and wedded 6 months after. Within their period of engagement, Eastwood was also frolicking with another woman in Seattle. Was it long distance or the flinging nature that got him rolling with a Seattle woman, while Maggie completes her university? Eastwood also put the lady in a family way, but the child was given out for adoption. The two were separated in 1964 after Maggie discovered his affair with the Rawhide stuntwoman. Within the temporal separation, Eastwood was said to have gone on a hunting spree, with numerous reports about affairs with co-stars, writers, and singers. The couple later renewed their romance and got 2 children, Kyle in 1968 and Allison in 1972. But the marital crisis continued as they formally divorced in 1984. About his die-hard mistress Roxanne Tunis, the rawhide stuntwoman, Eastwood first met her during the show production and got things going with her. She produced a child, Kimber, that would be Eastwood's second child in seniority in 1964. Although he was legally married at the time, the affair continued for a long time, that she even appeared in Eastwood's film Every Which Way But Loose in 1978. The adulterous relationship that began from a simple quickie to an open secret office romance constitutes one of the biggest entertainment scandals at the time. A lot of people think that Tunis had something special that made her a longtime mistress. It appeared that Maggie, Eastwood's wife, was in despair about his ever-ending flirt, but she didn't know miserably that he would go to the extent of producing love children. Roxanne proved her assertion wrong by having one for him, even though it happens to be the beginning of the children galore. Eastwood put up another illicit affair with married Sandra Locke, whom he met in 1972 during the production of The Outlaw Josie Wales. It endured for 13 years. By implication, Eastwood and Roxanne were still having a rump now and then, while maintaining Locke and the others. That is how messy it was. Recall that his first wife was still in the picture at the time. Eastwood commenced a fresh, long-standing affair with actress Locke. They were reported to have moved in together to an apartment in Bel Air, where Eastwood was said to have purchased a house for Locke's husband and his homosexual partner. How Eastwood and Locke were able to live together while still married to Johnson is one of the things that baffles fans. It was unfortunate, though, they did not have a child. Locke had admitted that Eastwood had ordered her to get 2 abortions done within the period. Locke also claimed that he got her tubes tied because he said he did not want a child, so it would not spoil their lifestyle. While cohabitating, they made 6 films together. She was, however, baffled to learn that he already had 2 children with Jacelyn, another woman within the period. This revelation came 3 years before their separation, a wonderful mistresshood indeed. Unable to withstand the shock and humiliation, Locke, in 1989, sued him for $70 million in palimony, seeking compensation and an equal division of possessions. This came when he changed the locks on their Bel Air residence, with all her belongings kept in a storage area, although she was privately settled with money, property, and Warner Brothers directing pact. While living with Locke, probably needing something fresh, Eastwood started an affair with a flight attendant, Jacelyn Reeves, who got a better relationship with him as she gave birth to 2 children, Scott and his sister Catherine. The relationship came to an end sometime in 1990 after it was exposed by the media. Scott, who also became an actor, was raised in Hawaii by his mother, but kept close contact with Eastwood. He later appeared in his father's films Gran Torino and Invictus. Somehow Eastwood got cleared by Locke and Reeves, but he was not done yet, as he was in this time with a woman identified as Frances Fisher. Funny enough, this relationship started the same year he had the heartbreaking battle. The duo stayed for 5 years in a union that produced a daughter, Francesca, in 1993. After he walked away from Fisher, Eastwood hooked up with TV news anchor Dina Ruiz, even though she was 35 years his junior. It trended in the gossip arena when he started taking her to public events, before he clarified that he was off with Fisher. A relationship that started when Ruiz was assigned to interview him about the movie Unforgiven. He decided to tie the knot this time, and 3 years later, they got married sometime in 1996. Dina gave birth to a girl, Morgan, as a result, and she would later play in the reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company, which revolves around her life in Los Angeles and her daughter and stepdaughter Francesca. Eastwood made a few appearances on the show that premiered in 2012. The couple stayed together for about 17 years before separating in a divorce filed in 2013. Clint Eastwood, ironically, is famous as a man with no name, but almost everyone will agree that he got more names than he needed at the moment. And the world may not have heard the last, because this iconic actor recently discovered that he begot a daughter identified as Laurie, said to have been born in 1954, and placed for adoption by her yet-to-be-named mother. Away from his romantic meandering, Eastwood's career contribution cannot be overemphasized. In addition to his numerous accolades, he has been bestowed with at least 3 honorary degrees from universities and colleges, and was in 2007 given the highest civilian merit in France. He also got a Golden Pine Lifetime Achievement Award. The list is endless for this heroic man of many talents. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And who knows how many more Clint Eastwood children we don't know about. But it is about mystery. Here is another video you should definitely check out: how Natalie Wood left Hollywood's biggest mystery behind.